world is commemorating International Women's Day, and in this episode of Health 360, we are putting the spotlight on women's health. The least talked about issues, the breast health of women, the right to have leaves during your periods. That's a heated debate in the country right now. What about the right to postpone motherhood, the right to freeze your eggs? These are the least talked about problems associated with women, and that's the reason why Health 360 this week is putting the focus on them. I'm Sneha Mordani. To get a leave or not during your periods, well, that's the issue that is being hotly debated in India and outside of India. Do women need period leaves or menstruation leaves, as we call them, during this difficult time when they're having their periods? There is a debate. In fact, there are people who say yes, it is required. There are many who say it isn't. We get you the complete report.
Periods, a word that's still taboo. People are still afraid to say it out loud. "I'm down," said in hushed whispers, if you want to tell a female co-worker or friend about your not being in the best of moods.
I still hide this pad while heading to a common washroom in public and feel at a loss of words if I feel like taking an off the day I'm down.
What is it with the mood swings, feeling of annoyance or crankiness while you're down? It's science. Women are in a different space altogether when they are menstruating.
Some women have a lot of pain, few have heavy cycles, few face like premenstrual problems that start off with water retention, breast tenderness. So these can be issues. Very few of them may have a nausea tendency also. So in different women there are different kind of symptoms, but it may not be necessary that in every cycle they are facing same problems.
Everyone who has ever worked on a team with mostly female members understands what menstruation does to a woman's mind and body. On day one of their period, many women are not exactly in the mental or physical state to carry on with life as usual. Most don't like to call in sick unless they really have to, and that is the reason why efforts are being made by a handful of corporate houses to introduce menstrual leave. Many companies like Nike, Zomato, Byju's, Swiggy, Industry Arc, Fly My Biz have started introducing menstruation leave in light of this. Even many countries like Japan, Taiwan, Indonesia, South Korea and Zambia have included menstruation leave policies. But is menstruation leave really needed?
We can use hot water bottles, we can use warm teas, there are ginseng herb teas. So this can be used. If required, then a little bit of painkiller. Otherwise, if can be avoided, should be avoided. That depends. If you have to ask for help from a gynecologist, please do take.
As is the case of every argument, there are two sides to this too. We spoke to a few women who are against it.
Maybe for me it is more painful and critical. For some people it is easy. So it's a point of discussion, and also depends on individual's choice.
Spain has implemented it and it's been a huge success there. If you want to level the playing field for like males and females, then you just can't go and ask for leaves on period days, because that would be unfair to the other gender, I guess.
This is very debatable because there are times when you don't really feel like going to the office, you feel very low and lethargic.
Don't think so. Not in my lifetime.
Some say much of the criticism of the menstrual leave policy is myopic. It fails to acknowledge the lasting impact such a policy could have on the overall physical and mental wellness of women.
Good immunity can help you in a lot of things, like if there is a little heavy flow, if you have a good hemoglobin, your dietary pattern is good, there will be even after a blood loss, your body will not go down with the low hemoglobin, you will not feel more low. Plus routine exercises so that you can deal with little bit of cramps with it.
In India, the apex court has weighed in too. On February 24th, the Supreme Court put the ball in centre's court while hearing a petition on menstrual leave in India. A petitioner had filed a PIL in Supreme Court seeking a direction to all the states to frame rules for menstrual pain leaves for female students and working women at their respective workplaces. Hearing the plea, a bench headed by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud urged the petitioners to approach the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development with the representation seeking a policy decision on the issue. In India, menstrual leave is not a new ask, with Bihar having introduced it in 1992 and the Menstruation Benefits Bill tabled in Parliament in 2017. Efforts have been made by women to break the stigma around it. French visual artist Ingrid Moen, in her series of 12 portraits titled Red is the Color, showed women wearing their menstrual blood as lipstick. The last thing most women would want the day before running a marathon is to come on their period. But when it happened to Kiran Gandhi on the eve of the London Marathon, she decided to take her menstruation in her stride, using it as an opportunity to address period taboo and stand up for women around the world. The 26-year-old decided to run 26.2 miles without a tampon, allowing the blood to seep onto her leggings between her legs.
Period leave is necessary. It normalizes menstruation and conversations around it. Or is menstrual leave condescending? Well, the conversation is in continuum. With camera person Kishan Kumar, this is Kshitija Gosavi for India Today.
Women's health is very different from that of a man's. Our bodies are built very differently. Our physical and mental needs are very, very different. We put together this report for you, giving you a sense of what you should be prioritizing.
The most frequently taken for granted, ignored, last on the priority list. We're talking about the health of women that gets the least amount of attention and actually deserves the maximum. And that is the reason this Women's Day we decided to do a bit of a rethink on what women should and must do for improving their health and their lifestyle. These are the things we must all follow. Fitness and food. This is a much needed power combination for women's health and longevity. The idea of fitness for many women is just losing weight. Healthy eating and diet and exercise are equally important in controlling weight as well as overall health management. No to toxins. Alcohol, smoking, excessive sugar, junk, mindless eating. These ensure that toxins stay on in the body. These toxins have a proven history of negative impact on ovarian health. Wellness. A comprehensive view of your health. Healthy body, mind and soul are important. The time is truly now to shift focus from only physical activity to mental health and wellness program like yoga and meditation as a full package to good health. Preventive care. Early diagnosis and vaccinations are important. For ailments like breast cancer, for example, preventive health becomes extremely important. Women must watch out for any sign and warnings such as irregular periods, lump in the breast or any unusual discharge.
HPV, human papilloma virus, one of the causative factor for a cervical cancer. So this is one cancer where a vaccine is available. So should be given to I would say young girls starting from the age of 9.
That is the only way to remain fit and healthy. For the same, acknowledge that your body is important.
Low hemoglobin will feel fatigued, lethargic, then like vitamin B12, vitamin D, if they are less, then it gives a lot of aches and pains in legs. A lot of ladies complain about backache and they are not feeling up to the mark to do some kind of work or these things. So according to the requirement, thyroid, one of the things, if there is the thyroid is on a higher side, the patient may bleed more. There is a little weight gain with hypothyroid. So if there are any symptoms, they are specifically feeling low, lethargic, then they should go for this testing.
The right to decide when you want to get pregnant, if it has to be at the age of 40 or above. Egg freezing is giving this right to a whole lot of women in India. In fact, it is a fast-catching trend. What's really going on in the country right now? What are the doctors and experts saying about egg freezing, and what are things that you must be looking out for if you want to postpone motherhood for whatever reasons, career reasons, social reasons or health reasons? Take a look.
Ekta Kapoor has done it. So has Rita Ora, Diana Hayden and actor Mona Singh. The list is endless. Just so many women are freezing their eggs, postponing motherhood for various reasons: social, health, career or personal. Social egg freezing has been lauded for its potential on the basis that it enables women to have it all, by allowing them to focus on their careers and have children later on. It truly is empowering women.
Our goal is first to make aware of the concept. We want people to, we want women to be aware of the concept of egg freezing. Second, we want to educate women about the procedure and what exactly they're going to go through. And third, we want to empower women. In fact, you know, with egg freezing, equality in the world is not only a slogan. Egg freezing actually gives the women the opportunity to make it happen.
And the trend is catching up. Gynecologists across the city have seen a rise in the number of inquiries for egg freezing, where a woman's eggs are extracted, frozen and stored. Later, whenever she plans to get pregnant, the eggs are thawed, fertilized and transferred to the uterus as embryos.
Egg freezing is gaining a lot of interest these days because of a lot of changes happening around us. There are two facts we need to understand. One is that every female is born with certain number of eggs, and number two, the quality as well as quantity of these eggs declines as the female ages. Now the second concept is that because of change in the lifestyle these days, and because of females being more into a career and gaining more heights into their own professional goals, the age of marriage is getting late. So egg freezing is a concept where we try to maintain the quality as well as quantity of eggs over the period of time.
So what exactly is this process? Egg retrieval is the process of removing eggs from your ovaries. During this process, you'll arrive at your doctor's office or clinic and an IV will be administered. This will allow them to provide general anesthesia for the procedure, since you'll be asleep during the process. During the egg retrieval, your doctor will use a transvaginal ultrasound probe with a needle, which is inserted in your follicles under ultrasound guidance. The fluid inside the follicles that contains the eggs is aspirated and collected into tubes, which are then given to an embryologist. The embryologist will then examine the follicular fluid and identify the eggs. The entire process takes roughly 10 to 20 minutes to complete. Once you wake up, your doctor will tell you how many eggs were retrieved. We also caught up with Mishwa, who says this is her right and there's no shame in freezing her eggs. After all, this is her body.
I would like to give one message to everyone, that you don't have to be afraid or you don't have to be ashamed of doing it, because this is not something that you are doing wrong. You are just thinking about yourself, which is not bad. I am 30 years old, I have just started my professional career and I don't want to start my family right there and right now. I just want to travel the world. I want to just be out there, and then I'll plan my pregnancy after maybe 2 or 3 years later. And I don't want to regret at that point of time that if I had done this earlier, then I won't have to go for unnecessary treatments at that time.
Mishwa is still unmarried but took this decision at a very young age just to focus on her career.
There is always a rat race between a professional career and a personal life, whether to, excel in your professional career, whether you want to take a break for your pregnancy or to take care of the baby or no. So egg freezing gives me the wings to fly.
The flip side of egg freezing is the cost. The process of egg freezing is cheaper in India than in most other countries. In India, it costs approximately between 1,50,000 and 1,70,000. Costs may go up depending on the number of cycles needed and later embryo creation and implantation fee. A woman's fertility declines with age. That decline accelerates in her late 30s due to a sharp decrease in both quantity and quality of available eggs. To ensure healthy and viable eggs, some fertility experts suggest limiting elective egg freezing to women aged 38 and under. Companies like Google and Facebook are the first to encourage women for this process and on bearing the expenses for them too. Many ask if this is sending the wrong message, that work is more important than family. Whatever the case, it really is about a woman's choice at the end of the day.
Social egg freezing is viewed as a boom for ambitious career-minded women who are not ready to have children but may want later in life. In fact, even those who are not pursuing their career but want to delay their motherhood due to some social reasons are increasingly coming forward for egg freezing. It's a very personal choice that every woman has right to make. With camera person Alok, Sabha Ikram for India Today.
Domestic violence has been normalized. In fact, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies or thoughts is very, very common in women who suffer domestic violence. What's really going on? Well, if you are in fact a victim of domestic violence or if you know of someone who is, then this report is an eye-opener.
Individual might be predisposed to having impulsivity, aggression as a part of their nature and their personality, which when accompanied by certain biological and cultural factors, which means that the societal acceptance of violence, societal acceptance of certain behaviors which are suggestive of abuse, which are limited to one gender, which are limited to certain positions of power in the society. So these factors can then intermingle and lead to the complex behavior that can manifest as abuse.
Women with their mental health diagnosis were also found to have been more likely to have suffered from domestic violence than women with no mental health diagnosis. Such diagnoses were eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder and other mental health issues like depression, anxiety and PTSD.
These abusers are very well versed with human behavior and with human psychology. So they understand that if their behavior of abuse is evident in the first or the second date maybe, it will not culminate into a relationship. So initially when an individual is setting the road to a relationship or the dating period is going on, during that time if there might be a high intensity of love that these individuals show.
The actual rate of domestic violence and sexual assault is unknown because many experiencing it are afraid to even disclose or report it. Abuse does not need to have a multiple occurrence or be carried out over years to be considered domestic violence. Even one episode can have serious impact and should not be overlooked. Domestic violence includes any of the following: physical violence, hitting, kicking, slapping or other types of physical force intended to hurt the partner. Sexual violence, forced or attempted forcing of a partner to engage in sexual actions when the partner does not consent or is not capable of consent. Psychological aggression, verbal and non-verbal communication to erode a person's self-worth, harm the partner mentally or emotionally, or exert control or power over the partner. Stalking, repeated unwanted attention and or contact that triggers fear or worry about the partner's safety or the safety of others that are close to the victim. Stalking means the communication is not consensual and may include verbal, written or implied threat. Controlling behavior are harmful to relationship and may point to more severe domestic abuse. Controlling behaviors are actions, whether verbal or physical, that limit a partner's mobility or access to friend, family, environment outside of their home. The victim may also be deprived of food, money or access to healthcare. Moreover, there may be forced reproduction. This includes actions in a partnership that may involve or not involve physical or sexual violence and are relevant to reproductive health. This includes, but is not limited to, refusing to engage in safe sex, purposeful exposure to STDs, interfering with or undermining contraception and limiting access to medical care.
So first and foremost thing that needs to go is the guilt or the shame that is being associated with going through this sort of behavior. We need to very clearly understand the right and wrong, and the abuser is the person who's wrong. The one who's been abused or the victim is not wrong, and their behaviors cannot be scrutinized to see where they went wrong. So what is important is that society is more non-judgmental. We give these women the strength to come out, speak loudly about what is happening to them, so that there are structural changes that can come along the way to support the society to become a more human society.
In addition to this, domestic violence can occur in younger persons and is often referred to as teen dating violence, TDV, which impacts millions of teenagers. Approximately 11 million women who reported experience of intimate partner violence shared that they first experienced sexual or physical violence or stalking before the age of 18.
Relationships. While meant to enrich our lives and those of our partners, can have a darker side that often goes unnoticed or unaddressed. Well, domestic violence is a serious public health issue, and it affects survivors' mental and physical state. While the effects of domestic violence can be devastating, they are preventable. We can all play a part in having healthy, respectful and non-violent relationships. With video journalist Vinod Kumar, this is Kshitija Gosavi for India Today.
That brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. Well, it is often said that the health of the family and the community is often tied to the health of women, and that's the reason why Health 360 continues to put the focus on these issues that matter to women. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did, putting it together for you. Until next time, thank you. Take care of yourself.